It's Mets versus the Mets fans face-to-face today, Moose. I think this is technically round one.
I think there might be more players than fans in the first game.
Yeah, it's a little tough for a 1 o'clock game after school's now back in session. But it's Mets against the Mets fans, and I believe this is a true round one because this is the first time that the Mets fans really understand that some of the Mets players were trolling them by giving the thumbs down sign through the weekend. And so, we're getting wildly different reactions and responses from a lot of different parts of the Mets organization. But the most important person in all of this is yet to speak. So Francisco Lindor hasn't said anything publicly yet. So obviously they had an off day yesterday. That didn't stop him from being out and about around town. U.S. Open, taking photos with the fans, signing autographs, all
Mr.
that good
Smiles.
stuff. But there is this lingering stink bomb that was set off Sunday night. And I'm wondering, when is Lindor going to clear up the smoke on that? Because does he even realize that he's the one who has to clear this up? This is his job to clear it up. Whether you think this is overblown or not, whether you think this is a non-story, whether you're ready for it to move on from this already, whether you're still lingering and feeling these bad feelings, or you just, it's all a joke to you, it doesn't matter. Francisco Lindor has an obligation to clear this up, or at least to attempt to clear this up. Because you have a doubleheader today. You might not hear from him until way, way, way later tonight. But think about all the wildly different reactions we've had to this from certain Mets players like Kevin Pillar or Trevor May trying to say this is overblown. It was just a joke, downplaying the whole thing. You got the manager playing the whole ignorance is bliss card, saying he didn't know anything about it. You have the owner calling it a teaching moment, so the more disappointed than angry kind of parental sort of response to it. While the president of the team has blasted these players, calling it totally unacceptable and holding a team meeting yesterday that we haven't gotten any details about. But honestly, it's the silence from Lindor in this whole thing that speaks volumes. Like I joked yesterday, don't give us some BS Instagram posts. I thought at least we'd get the BS Instagram post.
Well, he's busy watching tennis.
Well, tennis is a great sport, so I understand why he'd love it.
He's out there with the family, smiling.
And you know
signing
what?
Autographs.
Take a moment away from
Man
the
of the
game.
people.
But does he realize that this is his job to clear up? He and he alone, as one of the faces of the team, as the guy who came over in the big trade and then got the big contract and wants to take on a leadership role and be a person in this city. Clearly he wants to be someone in New York. He's out at the U.S. Open last night when the team is free falling. Like, he wants to be out and about and seen. Great. Want to do charity things. Great. All of that is awesome. Be a person in New York. But you realize that the you-know-what has hit the fan right now, and the only person who can make this right is Francisco Lindor.
Right, but the only way you can make it right is by hitting.
You first at least have to apologize or explain where you're coming from.
Right,
Moose.
I
He
get
owes
it, but
the fans that.
But there's no, unless you're going to do the Kevin Pillar route and May was doing the same thing yesterday, kind of giving you a different narrative about what they were doing. Maybe, obviously, leaning into the fact that Baez didn't explain it properly.
Got to hear from Lindor,
they're just
then.
having fun. I don't disagree with you. I don't think anyone's going to believe him.
The hitting comes next. But the first thing is the damage control.
The point is that no matter what he says, nobody's going to believe him.
That doesn't mean you don't try to make it right.
But I don't think he's going to. I think you'll hear from him today. I do. I don't think Francisco Lindor on an off day yesterday was going to all of a sudden hold a presser to explain it. Nor do I think Francisco Lindor is this unbelievable leader. I really don't. I think you've already you've seen the stripes in the tiger. And the tiger, the stripes don't change. He's a remarkably thin-skinned, guy that wanted to get paid, reacting. He's talked about the fact that the booing has bothered him. But do I look at Francisco Lindor as being this great leader of men? No, I really don't. And I think that's the thing that's kind of, the come to Jesus moment for this Met organization is, who the hell is Francisco Lindor? He's done more in Cleveland than he's ever accomplished here in New York. He came here to New York as a conquering hero. He's done next to nothing offensively, and it's been more negative than positive. He wants to emphasize the base running and the defense. Who gives a damn about any of that? But now I'm asking Lindor to be something that maybe he's not, Maggie. I don't know if Francisco Lindor feels the need to go out there and address the fan base. I don't know if Francisco Lindor feels that, because he's already gotten paid. He doesn't have to kiss the rear end. He's got $341 million over the course of the next 10 years after this year comes to an end, nor do I think it would be a receptive audience if Francisco Lindor, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on Instagram, talking about his love for the fans and all of this, I don't think it would really land. I think he'd come across more as a phony. I think really what it comes down to is, Francisco Lindor has got to lead the way with his bat, with his offense, with his play on the field, be the all-star, be the great shortstop that he was in Cleveland. You haven't seen that here in New York.
Okay, so obviously the baseball part has to get better. And obviously the baseball part, it will be the one thing that will truly get him back into the fans' good graces. He should care about wanting to be in their good graces, though. I'll disagree with you there. Even though he got paid, he should want to be making it right with the fan base here. And if he doesn't feel any kind of obligation to clear this up, then the Mets got a lemon of a guy and got totally sold a bill of goods and a complete fraud of a dude. And I just can't believe that
Maggie,
he would be so different
Maggie,
than what he has shown in Cleveland in terms of leadership.
His buddy was taking bullets left and right, all into the evening, into the night on Sunday, throughout the course on Monday. You've already learned about Francisco Lindor. He didn't feel the need on Sunday night to come out and say anything. So he didn't feel any need on Sunday night to come out and say anything. What was all of a sudden going to be a belief unless, Alderson and Cohen are pushing him to go do it? What would all of a sudden lead you to believe that Francisco Lindor on Monday is going to say, you know what, I need to go out there and do something on social media? On Sunday night, he let his buddy, guy that's been here 10 minutes, basically get dragged throughout the course of the city, being ripped left and right from coast to coast, all over the place. Here on the Fan, on TV, all these, hot take shows that you see left and right. I mean, Javier Baez has become arch enemy number one. Lindor did nothing.
Yeah, but this is not.
Did absolutely nothing. That tells you a lot about the individual. And those guys are friends. Those guys are friends. So he did nothing to help out a guy that he wanted to play with, help out a guy that he gave a primal scream in the outfield when he was trying to rehab and get back on the field, did nothing to alleviate some of the heat on his teammate and his buddy and one of his good friends in Javier Baez on Sunday night. If he didn't do anything for Baez, what would lead me to believe that all of a sudden he's going to do something to make it right with the fans?
There has to be an obligation to make this right. Maybe he wanted the dust to settle on and maybe wants Sandy to address the team. I don't know, Moose, but we have to hear from Francisco Lindor. This cannot be like a push it under the rug kind of situation, and this just lingers out here. Okay, we've learned a lot about Lindor. Totally agree with you. He should have never been this petty. He should have never gone this low. Or you know what? If it's going to be an inside joke, you better be damn sure that it's going to stay inside the clubhouse, which, because reporters aren't even allowed in the clubhouse right now, really shouldn't have been so bad. Javier Baez threw it out there and made this a story when fans would have never even picked up on this, just wanted to know what was the new celebration. If Lindor doesn't feel that obligation, if he is so willing to throw best friends under the bus and the franchise who's paying him under the bus, the guy's like the sociopath. Seriously, there's something wrong with you psychologically if you don't feel. See, I can't believe that though. I am disappointed by Francisco Lindor's actions.
But his actions have led you to believe that.
I want to believe there's still a moment. We're still in this cloud. I still want to believe that he is going to have a moment today when he explains himself and tries to show the Met fan that he understands how deeply personal many of them took this.
Did he look bothered last night?
There is still a moment.
Did he look bothered last night at the U.S. Open? Did he look forlorn? Did he look, did he look?
He's not going to go in public and be sour grapes.
Why? He's smiling left and right.
That's him.
He was in, all right, I get it. That's him.
Yeah.
But it's also he's a little bit of a phony. Let's call it like it is.
We're going to find out.
Pat Riley had the great line about LeBron James, true intentions behind smiling faces. When talking about LeBron, when he decided to leave the Miami Heat and go back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, when LeBron was telling patent companies something else and his intentions were to go back to Cleveland and make that right in Cleveland, which is fine. And that was Pat Riley, crying over spilled milk and losing the best player in the world. But still,
deserted the Knicks.
Tell me a friend. Tell me any good person, good friend out there that would allow a good friend of yours to take the shots that Baez has over the last 36 hours and sit on your hands.
Well, this is why I have to believe that something is coming today.
It's too late
to clear this up or attempt
Here's the deal. We've learned a lot already. Like, my point is it's a day late, dollar short. The idea that now all of a sudden, Francisco Lindor is going to say anything to make it right, even if he came out on Sunday night, would it have made it right with all the fans? Probably not. But it would have showed you, kind of the inner workings of Francisco Lindor. He has done nothing. He has said nothing. Trevor May's been more, out there on social media. You look at Kevin Pillar's been more out there on social media.
Well, because it's a CYA.
But I get it. But you look at Francisco Lindor, you've learned a lot about him already. Buddy of his is basically getting ripped to the high heavens, for how dare he, John and Susan tearing him apart on the Yankees broadcast, people tearing apart Javier Baez. Those are on the Chicago Cubs saying, you don't know who Javier Baez is. He lives and eats, breathes baseball. He's all heart. Well, that's not what he said on Sunday. In this explanation where I fully believe he was providing cover for Francisco Lindor. I have a hard time believing, and I said it yesterday, that this was all of a sudden Baez's, idea 16 games into being a Met, this is what he is going to do, because Lindor's already showed you, his true colors. I mean, Lindor's been bothered by the fans booing him. So, he told me a lot with him doing nothing. He wants to be this great ambassador for Major League Baseball. He told me a lot about him as a friend. Because as a friend for Javier Baez, where we were kind of ripping him and having fun with him, what is his agent saying? Javier Baez, in all likelihood, closed the door on the richest owner in all of Major League Baseball.
He did.
And Francisco Lindor, with his 10-year, $341 million contract after this season, sat on his hands and did nothing.
Okay, so there is still
time. I went to the U.S. Open last night. Enjoy a little tennis.
There is still time for Francisco Lindor to try to make this right. Whether he'll ever make it right with Javier Baez again, or if they're going to have some kind of lingering stuff between their friendship, to be honest, I could care less. I could care less about that.
It tells you about the human being.
I know, but Moose, he is going to be here for the next 10 years. I need him to understand what he did to the fans. He can clean all that stuff up internally with his personal relationships, which, to be honest, I don't know how their relationship really is. We don't know anything. All I know is what happened between Lindor, Baez, Pillar, Trevor May, those guys, and what happened between them and the fan base. And I need him to clear this up with the fan base. His own personal relationships.
Here's what I do know.
Want to call him a snake in the grass or a bad friend? I can't get there because I don't know the ins and outs and intricacies. I know on the outside, he's got to make this right with the fans. And if he does, or at least try, and if he doesn't understand that aspect of it, that's where the Met fan, and that's where the Mets are screwed. His personal relationships, I think behind the scenes, a lot of guys maybe aren't great. I'm not going to make judgments about that. My judgment is him, and does he apologize to the Mets fans?
What was it sold to us when they acquired Javier Baez?
Great player?
No, him and Lindor.
Right.
Lindor and him are thick as thieves, right? That's what it was sold as, right? Baez going on a Puerto Rican radio station and saying that the only team that he'd play for second base for is if he was playing up the middle with his buddy Francisco Lindor.
Sure.
So, whatever it might be, you learn something. It's something I would never do. Me personally, I would never let a friend hang out there to dry and not be able to take my personal responsibility and let it sit out there. And believe me, I am not a professional athlete. I would never do that. In any instance, I would never do that. I could not be able to sleep at night. I would never do what Francisco Lindor decided to do over the last 36 hours. I could not do that. Lindor decided to do that. Now, you want to say, okay, well,
I don't want to speculate about their personal relationship because I don't know.
No, but here's what we do know. When he was acquired, Lindor was as happy as anything. Mm-hmm. Everyone said it's going to get the best out of Francisco Lindor and that they're really good friends. So I don't think all of a sudden that has changed over the last month. I do know maybe the Lindor reaction in the last 36 hours has changed it. Now, you want to say, okay, not every good guy or good woman is a great athlete. Fair, true. Not everybody has to be a saint, right?
I want him to make it right with the Mets fans.
There's nothing he can say that is going to make it right with the Mets fans.
He should try to say something.
He had that opportunity.
He still has it today.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to fall short.
You can't write him off, Moose, right yet.
Well,
he still
here's
has
the deal.
Today.
No, I'm not writing him off as a player. The thing that's going to turn it around, Maggie, it's nothing that he says.
That comes next.
It's what he does. He has not done anything this year. That's why we're sitting here. That's why the Boo Birds has rained down on Francisco Lindor. He has been awful offensively. So I mean, I look at it and say, what are words going to get Francisco Lindor? It tells me about his relationship with Baez, right? But the relationship with the fan, right? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry and Jane that go out to Citi Field, spend their hard-earned money. They're watching on SNY each and every night, right? And they're locked into Mets baseball, game 1 through game 162. Is Lindor all of a sudden going to come across as believable? Like Lindor, what is he going to have? Like a Jimmy Swaggart weeping at the podium in order for us to go out there and believe him? I don't think it's going to come across as believable.
Moose, but you understand though.
I have learned my lesson.
No, Moose.
No, I don't think
he's got to talk.
Go hit.
He's got to talk he's got to try to speak from the heart a little bit. He's got to try to explain himself. Because if Trevor May is right and this whole thing is being totally misinterpreted, then we got to hear it from somebody who's at the heart of this and is at the heart of this team and is supposed to be the heartbeat of the team. So, yes, you have to hear from him. Whether you think it's BS, whether I do, he's got to try. It's called obligation. It comes with the territory here. We talk about being booed in New York comes with the territory. Well, also has facing the music and trying to explain yourself also comes with the territory. Of course, the hitting, that comes next. That comes next. But, this season just feels so lost in terms of at the plate for Lindor, in terms of the offense for this entire Mets team. He's got to try to make it right, and he still has time.
Okay,
today.
but here, if we're all misconstrued it, if this is all some, we're looking at misinterpretation. Because he's looking at what Baez said, right? So Alderson is looking at what Baez said, right? If Baez, for argument's sake, did not communicate it properly, right? For argument's sake, if Javier Baez went out there on Sunday and used the wrong verbiage, used the wrong words. The intent was not, they were using it as a rallying cry. They were trying to have fun, as Pilar was saying, similar to the churve they were using earlier in the season and all that stuff, right? If that is indeed the case, that's an easy explanation. Francisco Lindor needed then to come out, whether he was asked to or not, after Rojas had no idea what the hell was going on. Mm-hmm. If this was all kind of in fun, there was nothing spiteful. Guys. There was
totally getting misplayed.
Right. This was him going out there. And I don't disagree with you, Maggie. He has to face the media. I don't think it's going to.
Fans.
And the fans. I don't think it, in kind, right? He faces both, right? I don't think it's going to do all that much. For my money, though, I really think the opportunity to where he comes across as believable, that opportunity is come and gone. Doesn't mean he's not going to do it today, and he should do it today. Harold and company, the PR department, they've got to go out there and get Francisco Lindor out there, talk to the media, address the fans. My disappointment with Lindor is this. He had the opportunity to do something.
And hasn't done it yet.
And has done nothing. And has let a guy that, I know it's a personal relationship. It tells you a lot what ticks within the individual. He let a buddy of his basically hung him out to dry in Javier Baez and did nothing.
Yeah.
Did absolutely nothing. Because you know what Lindor has? Power within the organization and a 10-year, $341 million contract.
Yeah, I can't go there. I just don't know enough about the relationship to say that he was leaving him out to dry or what was going on.
How did he not leave him out to dry? He did.
Still has time today, but he's got to say something. That's the thing. He's got to say something. The organization can't have the mixed message of this isn't a big deal, this is a big deal, when Lindor is yet to speak. What I see coming, this is what I'm going to guess is going to happen today. I don't have any inside knowledge on this, but this is what I guess is going to happen today. I could see a one-on-one with Steve Gelbs before the game starts.
Yeah.
That would go a long way. Gelbs can ask him. Yeah, because now it's just going to linger out there for 2 games. You got 2 games worth today. The Mets are going to play for 7 hours today, more. And you got this lingering out there, and so he's finally going to speak after the second game when everyone's exhausted, and who knows what's going to happen against the Marlins today, and they're playing a 9-inning game and then a 7-inning game. Get ahead of it. You already didn't get ahead of it. Get ahead of it today. Have his words there on the TV broadcast or radio, and so you're able to play a little of something during the game, so we get a little something. We're not just, hey, they're just going to get booed mercilessly. Whoever is there today, I don't know how many fans are going to be there for the early game.
Nobody's going to be there.
But the ones who are there,
tonight,
they're going to be heard.
Story. Yeah, Mr. Smiles is going to hear it. Mr. Smiles is going to hear it.
He's got to say something. I hope he knows he has to say something. 877-337-6060.
Get the tears.
Well, tears I probably wouldn't believe. Imagine if he broke down crying. Oh my gosh. Then I'd be back in.
I would not be back in. You wouldn't even believe it.
Real tears, though, not crocodile tears. We got some crazy news going on out of New England. We're going to get that to you in just a moment.